Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's by user HiKrii. My boyfriend doesn't want to marry me because I'm an immigrant. I, 29 female, moved to the US 7 years ago as a grad school student from Indonesia. I met my boyfriend, 30 male, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about where our relationship was headed. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed the sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years. We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa, temporary worker, so this means that I need to start looking for a job as soon as possible if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to think about getting married, as that will also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he wasn't planning on us getting married before I was able to get a green card, permanent resident, in the US. I was incredibly confused because he'd never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule, his words not mine, by me, and that he wanted to make sure that I married him because I loved him and not because it was a ticket to getting to stay in the US, which can only happen when I get a green card. It took me a while to process what he said, and I asked him if he'd be okay to move to Indonesia with me, which he wasn't. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what just happened. I'm still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful and generous man I'd met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after nearly a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over, and it hurts. It hurts so much. Wow, OP, that must have hurt and sucked so much. I have no idea how the immigration thing is in the US and what people do to get a green card or whatnot, but you've been in a relationship with this person for 7 years, and he still doesn't trust you to not turn him into a visa mule? I don't get it. If he doesn't trust you, then how can he be in a relationship with you? It's ridiculous. And because of that, I get the impression that there's something else going on in the background here. I mean, if I was your boyfriend, it would make sense to me that you'd want to do that, because of course I'd want you to stay. I mean, I'm planning to have a future with you. I've been with you for 7 years, so of course I'd want to help you to stay. And also the fact that he's never mentioned any of this before just doubles down on that there's something weird going on. Now, to me, from an absolutely pragmatic point of view, I would think this relationship is done. What about you guys? What do you think, or what would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Manviln says, seriously? If you were using him, wouldn't you have pushed for marriage much sooner? Like right after you graduated? Unbelievable. I am so sorry. He is a complete a-hole for saying that. I really want to believe there is something else going on and he spoke out of his ass and feels terrible about it, but I don't know him like you do. You need to decide if having a larger conversation is worth having before sending the relationship to the grave. LankyAd1118 says, he took the easy way out. 7 years already, and if he isn't ready to get married now, he will never be. Do you live together? He came out with a BS excuse. When you get your green card on your own, drop him so you can focus all your energy on getting a new job. I am sorry this is happening to you, but he doesn't love you if there's a possibility of having to separate because of a working visa, and he is not interested in maintaining a relationship neither in the US nor Indonesia. He refers to the act of getting married to you as being a visa mule. What are you, a mail-ordered bride? You are an educated lady and a working professional who had the misfortune of wasting 7 years on a loser. Break up. Hope everything gets better for you. Good luck. Reeden2 says, wow, So he thinks you spent 7 years with him so you could get a green card? He must not think very highly of you if he thinks you couldn't find another guy to marry you much sooner to lock in that permanent residency status. I think you should ask him that. Say, do you really think I couldn't have found some other guy to date who would agree to marry me after 6 months? At least some old guy I could divorce after a year? If I were looking for a visa mule, don't you think there were a lot of better choices? Maybe he'll realize what an idiot he's being, and maybe he won't. But either way, you'll need to think carefully about whether you want this guy in your life when he doesn't trust you after 7 years. Well, even though the first commenter does have a point about having a conversation with the boyfriend, I absolutely agree with the second one. If after 7 years the guy can't see the truth, then I'm sorry, but he's either an idiot or he's blind or he's trying to get out of this thing. Anyways, let's move on with the update to see what happened after this. A few days back, I made a post about how my boyfriend of 7 years didn't want to marry me because I was an immigrant on an H-1B visa, and he didn't want to be a visa mule. I got a lot of wonderful comments and DMs, a few trolls too, but that's expected from Reddit, haha. Because the thread got logged and the post was subsequently removed because I had a low karma account, I was unable to respond to anyone. I'm posting this update to do that, plus add in some more things that have transpired since. Addressing some of the stuff in the comments. 1. I've been on an H-1B visa for a bit more than 2 years now. I was on STEM optional practical training for about 3 years after grad school. I had terrible luck with the H-1B lottery, and I got one on the last round I was eligible to apply in. 2. Getting permanent residency in the US is not easy. I know people who've been here for 15 plus years who are still waiting for their permanent residency. 3. Regarding my situation back home in Indonesia, I come from a very religious and conservative family and had a horrible childhood. My family doesn't support my career choices. I cut contact with my family when I moved to the US, so they are not in the picture at all. And 4. I was on great terms with my boyfriend's family. They loved me. For those of you who DM'd me calling me a gold digger, you guys made me laugh out loud. I am aware of the legalities around sponsoring a spouse for a permanent residency, including the financial aspect. I shouldn't have been a problem for the following reasons. I am a STEM major, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, who recently shifted into management. I work for a large company and do quite well for myself. My boyfriend is a teacher, and our incomes are not comparable. He earns around $60,000 a year, I earn close to $300,000 a year. We've been living together for around 6 years. We have a shared account to pay for expenses like rent and utilities that we both deposit a percentage of our salary into. The rest of our money goes into our own private accounts and we don't manage each other's money. Because I'm pretty frugal, I've saved up quite a bit of money in the form of savings plus investments. If my boyfriend was worried about the legality of sponsoring me financially for 10 plus years, I would have happily discussed moving the money around. I was even considering buying a house, so we could have made that a joint ownership thing. The point is, we could have figured it out. I haven't relied on him financially ever, and I didn't intend on doing that in the future. I might not have considered everything, but you have to note that I thought about the marriage for visa thing very recently, only when the threat of possibly having to leave loomed over me. This isn't something I'd thought about in detail at all. Now, for the actual update. He is now my ex-boyfriend. I took a few days to collect myself and then reached out to him wanting to talk. He agreed. It turns out that he has been insecure about earning less than I did for a while. Apparently, his friends have been poking fun at our relationship, calling me the sugar mommy because I take care of most of the expenses. He never told me this until now. He apparently didn't feel like an equal because our pay differs so much and started feeling that I was only with him as a quick way to get a personal residency here. I was speechless. I couldn't believe that his friends gaslit him into doubting our relationship. I reminded him how he had supported me when I was in grad school, like getting my groceries when I had little money to spare, allowing me to stay with him rent-free in my last year of grad school to help me minimize expenses so I didn't have to take out a loan, letting me use his car when I was attending interviews. I told him that he did them because he loved me, and me taking on the majority of household expenses, since I started working, is my way of paying him back for all the things he did for me back then. He said that he gets what I'm saying, but also that he didn't expect me to start earning more than him straight off the bat. I asked if there was any chance he'd consider going to couples therapy, like some of you had suggested, and he declined because he didn't think he was being unreasonable. He said that he wanted to be the provider in our relationship and that he didn't feel like one in ours. So there's no going back from this unless I quit my job and found another that paid substantially less, which isn't going to happen. Well, long story short, we broke up. His family is in disbelief. They were hoping that he would propose soon. I've moved into an Airbnb for now. A little bit of good news to end this update with. My company offered me a similar role in a different department. However, this is based out of France, and there's a small decrease in pay. I've always dreamed about living in Europe, and I've accepted this offer. I've signed the relocation agreement, and I'll move there in the next 8 to 12 weeks. Wow, OP, I'm sorry, but you spent 7 years on an idiot. I honestly and personally don't understand this thing that I need to make more money than you. I don't care if it's man or woman or whoever it is. A relationship is a partnership and they both have to carry the weight together. It doesn't matter what the proportion is, at least in my opinion. Personally, I've been in both positions with my wife. There have been moments where she's the only one having a paycheck, and there's been moments when I'm the one earning the paycheck and moments where we're both getting a paycheck. And neither of us ever cared how much each or the other put in because it's a partnership, it's a relationship. Anyway, OP, good riddance. Profitez de la France, thanks for sharing, and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Off My Chest, and I know this is not the typical subreddit where I read from, but I just read this post and thought it was great and really wanted to share it with you guys. It's from the user X Won't Do What You Tell Me. I had a secret. Last Friday, I got cheered, applauded, and high-fived. For the last few weeks, I've been going out. My wife doesn't know where I've been going. She thinks I've been going to this bar down the road and just hanging out. I didn't lie to her, I just didn't tell her where I've been going. Last Friday, I went to the bar down the road where I stood on a stage with this band I've been practicing with and sang my heart out. For decades, I've been told I can't sing, that my voice is crap, that I can't hold a tune. Why the F are you trying to sing for? I've heard it from my dad, my mom, my grandparents, the kids in school, my wife, my kids, and my friends. All I've really wanted was to not be made fun of for singing a tune. In August, I turned 50 and decided I'm going to give it a go. Started with learning a couple of songs. Did a few at karaoke night, and a few weeks ago a guy told me he had a band looking for a singer and if I was interested. Been practicing with him ever since. Nobody knew until this Saturday what I've been doing all those many nights. Friday came and I stood on that stage. No fear and no anxiety were in me. I felt like that kid so long ago who walked up to a diamond plate and smashed the ball over the fence. A calm and peace swam over me, and with it, a smile. It felt almost as if something had taken over me, like another voice was coming over and through mine. People were singing along, dancing and clapping their hands. For tens of years, this is what I wanted, to get up on a stage and sing, and boy did I. I knocked it out of the park. My daughter was the first to learn about it, and then my friend. My two sons knew something was up when they caught me practicing at home when I thought nobody was there. They now know that Dad kicked ass. My wife hasn't said much. She's still processing that I'm a singer of a band. For her, yesterday I was a guy who couldn't have sung a lick even if he tried. This is for all of you out there. Don't let other people hold you back from what you really want to do. You might have to work harder and practice more, but if you never try, then you will never know if what you're aiming for is within you. This is for young people. Don't let other people's negativity and pessimism hold you back on something you think you might enjoy. Their issues aren't yours. Just do it. For the old, this is also for you. The only time it's too late is when they put you in the ground. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Friday, I put myself out there. I proved it's never too late. I did something I dreamed of ever since high school, and though the crowd wasn't big, it was big enough for me. They clapped, They cheered, they sang along, they danced, and when I stepped off the stage, strangers came up to me and high-fived me for what I did. If you want to know what that is like, it's the best feeling in the world. This Friday, I sang. That was awesome, OP. Good for you. Well done. I have to say that when I read the Just Do It parts, I did kind of see Shia LaBeouf's video or meme or whatever. But regardless of my ridiculousness, that was awesome, OP. Thank you so much for this post. I hope you guys liked it as much as I did. Now let's move on to the next one. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Cinnamon Bun Bun. Sure, I'll keep the meals under $30 as per the policy. I'll make sure it's $30 every single time. I do a lot of fly-in, fly-out travel for my job. Usually, I am so busy with work while on site, or I am stationed somewhere with food options I don't want to waste my calories on, and I don't eat anything the whole day or just buy a coffee. Our employee expenses policy at work is $30 a day, which is mostly fine. But there are some high cost of living cities, and sometimes my meals go above that policy because there are not many options. Especially if I want to eat healthy, which is important when you are constantly on the road. Plus, so many airports have completely shut down their food courts and haven't reopened them yet, so there are hardly any options but fast food. So I submit my expenses one month and I have gone $1.50 over the daily limit because I treated myself to a coffee that morning, as well as lunch because I was tired after the awful early flight I had to take. The company had recently changed its policy and now a different set of people are approving expenses. The previous people didn't mind going over by a few bucks because it balances out with trips where I didn't eat anything, but this new group are absolute sticklers and rejected the expense, citing I was over the daily limit. I tried to argue I had 10 other visits that month in which I didn't eat a single thing, but they still weren't budging. It really left a sour taste in my mouth. Now, every single visit I force myself to spend as close to $30 as I can because F them. My husband is happy because it means I now bring back, slightly squished but free, food for him. I feel bad for wasting food, but often I just buy a meal and eat a few bites and throw it in the bin. However, the expense policy is $30 a day and I'm going to stick to it now. While in the past I might have billed $100 for the entire month because I didn't bother to eat, I am now billing twice or 3 times that. I also used to push myself to keep working all day, but now I religiously take my 30 minutes to go and buy some food, so that's 30 minutes less of work they are getting from me too. Well, OP, they wanted you to spend $30 a day, and that's what they're getting now. Ah man, the things that happen when common sense just flies out the window. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.